Thanks for joining us on The World Now. Former Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan and his wife, Bushra Bibi, have been jailed for 14 years, making it the second sentence handed to Pakistan's former Prime Minister in 2 days. The two sentences come just a week before the South Asian country is due to hold an election in which is barred from standing. Wednesday's court case revolved around accusations over state gifts that he and his wife received while in office, while Tuesday's case, for which he was sentenced to 10 years, is for leaking classified state documents. It's thought the two sentences will run concurrently, although that has not been confirmed. The court has also ordered the couple to pay a fine of about 1.5 billion rupees, which is about $5.8 million. His lawyers said they would be launching an appeal to Pakistan's High Court in both cases. Mr. Khan, who was ousted as Prime Minister by his opponents in 2022, is already serving a 3-year jail term for corruption. Reacting, Mr. Khan says the numerous cases against him are politically motivated. Well, let's talk about the second sentence for a bit. I'm joined by journalist Francis Hill, who joins us live from Portugal for more on this development. Thank you for joining us on the news, Francis. It's been a turbulent time for Imran Khan since he lost power in 2022, and his supporters have said the sentencing violates the Constitution and the law. Would you say it's clear if the former Prime Minister had a fair hearing in this case?
I don't think so. I think what is abundantly clear is that the Americans were behind the removal of Imran Khan as Pakistan's Prime Minister. What they did was, in the background, they ushered in a new regime, which is pro-American and pro-capital. I think the only corruption we've seen is from the judiciary, a compliant judiciary that have actually used lawfare in order to prevent Imran Khan becoming re-elected as the Prime Minister of Pakistan. I think we can see the same thing with Donald Trump. A lot of Republicans believe that genocidal Joe Biden stole the American election in 2020, and they're trying to bring him before the courts and to give him a jail sentence to prevent him from becoming the next president of America in 2024. So we're seeing corruption on a huge scale, where once upon a time you would have had a military coup. Now we are having political coups, which are being used to deny the people of America and the people of Pakistan. And I believe it might be Morales in Latin America. They're trying to bring him before the courts to prevent him from running in the elections, someone else who would be democratically elected by the people. So this is nothing short of an attack on democracy and an attempt to defraud the people of the countries I mentioned of the opportunity of electing someone who will represent their views and in the case of Imran Khan, stand up against American foreign policy in the region.
It's a little bit hard for me to comprehend the relationship between both countries when you consider, the peculiarity of their democratic governance. Pakistan's political leaders in the past, for instance, have gathered to, bargain for more space in the system. And what we've seen is their inability to push back the military. In that way, it's hard to see development here the way it's happening in America. Do you agree?
Well, in Pakistan, it's very much a balancing act between trying to prevent a military coup I've had in the past and from corrupt elections where the people elected may not have been actually elected by the people. So you're witnessing, in the case of Pakistan, a country moving from a form of previous military dictatorship into a form of free democratic elections. But those elections have now been stolen, and the opportunity to elect Imran Khan has been taken away from the people of Pakistan. When I talk about America, I talk about a corrupt political elite. I talk about two parties, Republican and Democrat, that you could slip a slice of paper or a piece of bread between their policies when it comes to the foreign policies and it comes to their backers, which are the corporate capitalist elite in America. America is not a democracy either if you believe that the election in 2020 was stolen from Donald Trump. And Donald Trump doesn't need a military coup in his country because he works hand in glove with the military industrial complex, which actually runs America in the background, creates the wars, creates the instability and the chaos throughout the world so that they can either sell arms, move for regime change, have colour revolutions, or bomb and invade countries like they did in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Syria, where they are illegally at the moment, and they back genocidal regimes like the one in Tel Aviv, which is currently in a genocidal purge on the people of Palestine and Gaza.
You know, it's interesting how we bring U.S. into all of this conversation. Let's take Mr. Khan, for instance, who alleged that his removal was orchestrated by Pakistani military in collusion with political rivals, and also the fact that there was a U.S.-led conspiracy in the mix. Do you think that sovereign nations can also wake up and, you know, smell the coffee and take the largest responsibility for what's happening within their sovereign land?
Yes. I mean, you don't have to talk about Pakistan. You can talk about anywhere in Africa. If you look at the nations that had these puppet regimes put in by the imperialist French and by the imperialist British, then followed by the imperialist Americans, what you have are Western hegemonic nations who once were superpowers. I mean, France, Germany, Holland, Belgium, Britain, and now America are all superpowers. They've all had their colonies, colonized countries, which had no sovereignty, which were ruled from London, or they were ruled from Paris, or they were ruled from Berlin. So, you know, there is no real sovereignty in the world when nations such as America and Britain and even Israel can bomb and colonize and invade and murder and massacre people at will. In the case of Iraq, they had no UN mandate. The war was illegal. Every person killed there is a war crime against the people of Iraq. And I think it's really important that we hold these people to account and don't let the double standards that they have, where they say, you know, a one world order based on the rules-based order, and the rules only apply when they decide who they're applied to. So we must see the truth for what it is, and that's Western Anglo-Saxon hegemonic war criminal governments are still invading and bombing other sovereign nations for no other reason than it suits their political and financial interests in whatever region in the world that they want to take over.
I hear you clearly, Francis. I'm just saying that, you know, it's also very easy for people to just blame America for their problems. You talked about Africa. A lot of that is happening on the continent. I'm sure you're following the withdrawal of 3 countries from, you know, the regional bloc because of allegations of Western influence. There are coup d'etats that have happened, you know, against what is considered neo-colonial rule from France. So even African countries are taking their own lives in their own hands. So Pakistan can't just blame America for all that is happening within its land. That's the point I'm making.
Okay, no, I 100% accept what you're saying. I'm not going to counter it, but what I am going to say is, yes, the people of Pakistan, well, firstly, they've been denied the opportunity to elect a new democratic prime minister of Imran Khan. So they've been denied that. They've been denied that by a military political collaboration with the United States of America. Imran Khan said the Americans were behind this political coup to remove him from office, and I totally agree with that. The Americans don't want him to be running the country because he will run it in the interests of the people of Pakistan and not of American financial and military governance. The people who are working hand in glove with the Americans are the military and his opponents, who would have stayed out of power had he not been removed. So I'm actually totally agreeing with you to the point that sovereign nations, many of which that you were alluding to, have had military coups and revolutions led by the people, not false revolutions led on behalf of America and the CIA. I mean, in the Ukraine, it's not in Africa, it's not in West Asia, it's in the heart of Europe. And yet they had the coup in 2014 led by the fascists and led by Joe Biden as vice president and Victoria Nuland, who was out giving cookies to fascists in Ukraine at the Maidan Square protests. So the people of Pakistan are living partially under the threat of military intervention by their own military. So the people in Pakistan, I do not believe, genuinely are being given the option of electing the person that they want to act on their behalf, and that they are being manipulated in the background by those forces that don't have their interests at heart.
Journalist Francis Hill, live for us in Portugal. Thank you.
Thank you.